우연이 아니다. 우연한 사고를 모방한 흔적이다. 이 정도 사이즈가 가능한 건 청소부다.
Not all murders require weapons. Not all deaths leave a perpetrator behind. Some deaths are born from a series of small events, too trivial to arouse suspicion, too neat to be questioned. And when everyone agrees to call it an accident, that is when the most perfect murder occurs. This is the story of a man once thought to exist, who through his meticulousness makes a murder case appear as nothing more than an ordinary accident. It begins by introducing a man named Yeong. He goes to see a female detective to confess to his wrongdoing, which has resulted in many deaths. He also recounts what he did several days earlier before deciding to turn himself in.
휴지 사망 사고 때문에 조사를 좀 했었어요. 어머님이 연명 치료 중이시더라고요.
제가 재현할 수 있습니다.
This is The Plot 2024.
Next, we are shown a traffic accident on December 24th, which coincides with Christmas Day, in which one of Young's friends, named Jock Nunn, becomes one of the victims of the accident.
그 사람도 깡통이었죠. 제 말을 믿어준 유일한 동료죠. 시력이 짝짝이었죠.
Young believes that his best friend did not die because of an accident, but because someone wanted him dead. There was a mysterious figure who planned the accident. He knows this because he himself works in that field. The accident scene involving Jack Noni still appears extremely chaotic, causing heavy traffic congestion. A businessman who gets stuck in the traffic is instead provoked by a food delivery courier, awakening his violent impulses and leading him to decide to kill the courier. Misfortune continues to befall him. The businessman eventually gets trapped at a construction site just as he's about to catch the courier who angered him. However, his real misfortune is only just about to begin. The misfortune experienced by the businessman was not a coincidence. Instead, it was carefully planned by an organization called the Cleaners, led by Yeong. With his intelligence, Yeong is able to predict small, simple details that support the success of his mission. After receiving payment from the person who hired him, Yeong instructs his subordinates to gather at the headquarters to distribute the wages from their job.
오늘 처음이었잖아.
당연히 괜찮습니다.
Within his organization, Yeong has three professional members: Jumon, the master of distraction, Cheon, an expert in disguise, and the only woman, Jackie, the tactician, as well as the most senior among the other two members.
청소부 지시해요.
그치, 형도 그렇게.
During the meeting, everyone appears deeply uneasy, especially after Yeong brings up their late friend, Jack Noni. Yeong believes that besides them, there is another cleaners organization that will eventually come after their lives as well.
1년 만에 청소부가 다시 나타났어요.
While driving two of his teammates home, Jumon, who knows nothing about who Jack Noni was, asks Jackie about him and why Yeong is so obsessed with his friend's death. Jackie explains that Yeong and Jack were the founders of their current organization. However, their friendship and chemistry came to a tragic end when Yeong discovered that his best friend had died in an accident. Unable to accept it, Yeong immediately drew his own conclusion about the cause of his friend's death, believing it to be the work of another cleaners organization besides theirs.
빵 갔다 왔어요. 만만하게 보지 마요.
뭉치면 증거야. 증거 뭉치면 살인이고.
연락 끊습니다. 대답 10초 이상 없어도 연락 끊습니다.
The next day, Yeong is seen guiding a woman named Jo Young-soon, who has just requested his services to execute someone, who turns out to be her own father.
버리시면 됩니다.
After receiving the file from Jo Young-soon, Young studies the details of his target. After reviewing news from the past, Young understands why Jo Young-soon wants to have her father executed, even though she is the only child of a highly respected family.
Her mother ran a property business, while her father was a senior prosecutor in Korea. The mother involved in a bribery scandal that severely threatened her husband's position. Not long after the case was exposed, the mother was reported to have died in a traffic accident.
이화선 씨 포함 총 사고 현장은 사거리에 위치한 대강에서 발생하였으며
Sensing that something was off about the accident, Young became increasingly convinced that there was another cleaner besides himself, especially since the mother's case was identical to what had happened to his best friend.
청소부가 한 일이다. 타겟은 이완. 의뢰인은 주성재.
Here, we come to understand the concern shared by all of Young's colleagues when he brings up Jack's case again. This is because he has a delusion that allows him to speak with Jack, even though it only happens within his own mind.
뭐냐 햄버거요. 제가 좋아하는 거.
나돈 많아.
The following day, Young gathers all his members for a discussion, where they attempt to devise several scenarios for executing the prosecutor. Options such as a traffic accident are considered, but deemed ineffective because it would not be only the prosecutor who would die. Jackie suggests carrying out the execution through electrocution. Young agrees, on the condition that they wait for rain first.
자살.
비를 기다리죠.
비요?
Next, Young begins investigating the prosecutor's activities in the people he frequently meets.
The flashes from the journalists' cameras make it easier for them to carry out their operation without being noticed. Meanwhile, a mysterious YouTuber conducts a live broadcast, predicting that the prosecutor's death will occur soon. Although it will appear to be nothing more than a natural phenomenon, he explains that someone is actually responsible for causing the prosecutor's death.
이 한복판에 모스맨이 나타날 것.
오늘 강수 확률 50%라고 하지 않았어?
50%면 반반 아니에요?
해산.
When the night of the execution arrives, rain begins to pour over the Korean sky, just as Young had predicted. Before the execution is carried out, Young accidentally overhears the prosecutor talking on the phone about murdering his own daughter.
직접 검찰이 고발하고 그래야 진실이 밝혀지고 깨끗해지니까 난 너희 엄마를 믿었다.
Young begins to think negatively about the prosecutor, suspecting that he has also hired cleaners to take his own daughter's life. From that conversation, Young becomes more alert to his surroundings while issuing commands to each of his members.
원천이 가서 확인해봐.
As his members are called one by one to make preparations, Jackie suddenly disappears from Young's sight and from the others as well. Sensing that the mission is about to fail, Chan asks Young to abort the operation.
형 제키가 없어.
뭐?
멈추는 게 낫지 않겠어?
Even without Jackie's help, Young still orders his members to proceed with the mission. Given their preparations in the favorable natural conditions, the mission can no longer be delayed. Next, they begin searching for Jackie, who has been missing for some time. Jumon and Young are assigned to search for her, while Cheon guides the two of them. With his expertise, Cheon manages to locate Jackie, who is already at a bus stop. However, when Young goes to check on her, suddenly, From that point on, after returning from the scene, Yeong begins to suspect two of his members as their suspicious behavior becomes increasingly obvious, especially Chon, who had guided him to the bus stop, leading Yeong to conclude that the two of them are spies sent by another cleaners organization to eliminate him. That suspicion is reinforced by the apparition of Jack Noni, who tells him that there is a spy among them. This makes Yeong even more convinced that one of the two members is a traitor. In order to uncover the truth, Yeong orders Chon to separate from the group for the time being.
내가 연락할게.
The channel newly built by the mysterious man is now close to reaching 10,000 followers. He thanks someone who has helped him earn more money. From this, it can be concluded that he is not a special individual, but rather that there is someone behind him who constantly provides him with information to be immediately spread to the public. The next day, Yeong begins to make his move to gather information, first visiting Jo Young-soon to find out whether she has any ties to another cleaners organization. However, he only finds his target deep in grief, especially after she is approached by a female detective from the investigation bureau. As he is about to leave, Yeong accidentally sees Jackie standing in front of a photograph of the deceased. He then decides to approach her, but Jackie instead believes that the person standing before her is Jack Noni, who died long ago. Yeong is shocked to see how messy Jackie's house is, especially after learning that she suffers from Alzheimer's disease, a condition that causes memory loss. She has even forgotten that Jack Nanani is dead, believing that the person standing in front of her is Jack Nanani himself.
영일이 때문에 그 새끼가 그렇게 힘들게.
정서부한테 죽었다고.
After leaving Jackie's house, Yeong decides to resume spying on Jo Young-soon. His attention is drawn to the voice of an insurance agent whom Young-soon has just met. Yeong assumes that the insurance agent is another cleaner hired by Jo Young-soon, especially after seeing that a file the agent hands over is not accepted by Jo Young-soon, which suggests that the job is still not finished.
거절했다. 알아.
That belief is reinforced after he hears a live broadcast from the mysterious man, who has now revealed his identity. The mysterious man explains the characteristics of a cleaner, criteria that perfectly match those of the insurance agent. This time, he announces that he will execute a young journalist who wrote an article about Jo Young-soon.
30대 중반의 남자, 짧은 머리에 호리호리한. 분명히 혼자가 아닐 겁니다.
After seeing that the insurance agent has two accomplices, Yeong immediately goes to their office to find out who the next target is. There, Yeong notices a suspicious date in a file belonging to a journalist who is believed to be about to be executed.
서유원. 도둑 기자. 담탁이시다.
Before leaving, Yeong plants a listening device to monitor every conversation the insurance agent has. On the same day, he is visited by the detective, who questions him about why the prosecutor transferred all of his insurance money to his daughter.
아내분이 왜 보험을 들었다고 들었어요? 그리고 그분 스타일이 원래 그래 모든 걸.
After the detective leaves, the insurance agent contacts someone using highly suspicious language. There are several things that Yeong finds particularly sensitive, references to an elderly woman, and the idea that they must finish the job first before someone else takes it.
상익동 내가 얘기했잖아요. 한 다음엔 피보험인도 찾아서 빨리 끝내버리죠. 안 그럼 다른 조사원들이 움직여.
The next day, Jo Young-soon goes to meet the insurance agent to collect her father's insurance money. Their farewell surprises Yeong, as the agent says several things that seem excessive. On top of that, Jo Young-soon makes it clear that she does not want to meet him again. In a parking lot, Yeong realizes that Chon has taken the payment money from Jo Young-soon. He immediately acts swiftly, recklessly deciding to end his own teammate's life on the spot. As he exits the building, he is shocked to see Jo Young-soon suddenly fall from the top of the building. This is followed by a call from Jackie saying that she is in danger. By the time he arrives at Jackie's house, it is already too late. The police have surrounded the place.
연락만 닿으면
Upon arriving at his rented room, Young sees several police officers who are processing the crime scene of a robbery that took place the previous night. The burglars unit is located right next to his room. He is utterly shocked when he enters his own place and finds it completely ransacked, especially when he notices that his chess pieces are no longer where they should be. At the news office, the YouTuber is seen disguising himself as a delivery worker to sabotage the broadcast. The mysterious man begins a live stream and is about to reveal who the so-called Butterfly Man really is. At the same time, Young begins carrying out a revenge mission in response to what the insurance agent has done. Here, we are shocked by a broadcast revealing that the so-called Butterfly Man is actually Young himself. Meanwhile, the insurance agent turns out to be an ordinary person who is currently handling the donation given by Jo Young-soon to the journalist, whom Young believed would be killed by the agent. The two people who were with him earlier were in fact the journalist's family, which explains why they were meeting each other. Here, Young finally realizes that what his teammates had been saying was the truth, that he himself is the one who caused all of this chaos. Consumed by delusions and distrust toward his own comrades, he lost control. But since what's done is done, there is nothing he can do anymore, not even to save the insurance agent, who became the victim of his mistaken targeting. After recounting everything in detail to the detective, Young asks to be arrested and sentenced according to the severity of his past sins. However, the detective cannot do so because the police have already closed all cases classified as natural accidents. As a result, his surrender cannot be pursued, since a crime must have solid evidence and clear grounds to be processed. In the end, Young is allowed to go home by the detective, who advises him to see a psychiatrist to treat his delusional disorder. After Young leaves, we are left utterly shocked upon learning a new fact about the detective. She is actually the cleaner who sabotaged every move and the one who executed Jok Noni and Jong Nam. She is also the person who fed information to the YouTuber who always delivered the most up-to-date news. And with that revelation, the film comes to an end.